Hello, Targar friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for another Orc Mode workout. And today was Dynamic Effort Bench Press Day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos every day, please click like down below. Help me keep the likes higher than the dislikes, and let's get over to the video. Really good workout. Only disliked one thing in the entire training session. Everything else went great. So let's talk about what we're doing here. I've looked at my different grip widths and I've realized long term, even though I've been messing with the really wide, I probably don't need to ever develop the ultra wide. But I do need to get strong at getting wide grip benching, right? So what are we going to do? Pinkies on the rings. Instead of index finger on the rings, pinky on the ring, and we'll count that as wide grip. Middle of the knurling will be medium, and then close grip will be close grip. I need to get strong at all three grips, okay? And I've always been stronger on the close grip. And I've been able to assess where I was at in the month or so leading up to that close grip PR before the shoulder inflammation really bothered me from the pull-ups. And I have that under control, but we have a lot of rebuilding to do. So we'll get over to the floor presses in a minute, but let's talk about the speed bench. Went good today. I went down a whole notch on the intensity, and we'll keep the volume fairly high for band work. So I went down to 40% plus 25% band tension. Went back to the straight bar. Okay, we need to get good with the straight bar again. I love the Buffalo bar, great building tool, but I need to get good with this straight bar. Got to work on this arch, which you guys see me doing, working on getting a little bit better of an arch, because I have really long arms, as you guys notice there. I'm using a pretty big cheater arch. Okay, when I say pretty big, I mean my lower back is a good 6+ inches off the bench. I just have that long arms. It sucks. So, you know, we make the best of it. But that always means that I'm going to need more and more tricep. But what we're doing here, these went nice and fast. Okay, I'm going to keep practicing this arch, keep practicing getting tight with a bigger arch. It's going to take some work, getting my setup kind of dialed in, and I'm going to get that by doing a lot of close grip work this way and doing all my speed work this way. Okay, we're going to have to keep working on it. But the speed was very good today. And you guys will notice it gets faster as I go. Why? Because I'm more explosive with the close grip. So because we want to do a third of each, and we start wide and work in, I did 3 sets wide, 4 sets medium, and then 3 sets close grip. So you guys will notice I get faster and faster as I go, and even the final set was pretty fast. So I think we got kind of a sweet spot, and I think because of the relative percentages here, I may not need to reduce sets as I go through this wave. I might be able to keep good speed on 10 sets. Okay, instead of kind of dropping it as I increase weight each time. And a lot of times we would want less total volume with bands, but I feel like I'm doing good with these. I can handle them. It'll be fine. It might not be the same with my band work with that safety bar for squats, but these were good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep working on getting better at arching. I'm going to have to build the wide grip bench and to go with the close grip. I've got to get my close grip back to where it was before the shoulder inflammation. And we can use all these different supplemental lifts to assess that and know when we're going to PR. And I think I can base it upon previous floor press strength and overhead press strength. And I've noticed my overhead press strength tanked. It's non-existent right now, but we'll get to that also in a bit. But the speed bench, I was really happy with this today. So we're making progress. We're getting fast again. And the beauty of it, now that I'm getting better at the arching, I'm getting my wrist position where I want it. I'm not trying to mess with the stupid bulldog grip anymore. I'm strongest with the straight up knuckles up grip. That's where I set my PR with the bench, not trying to mess with the bulldog grip. And a lot of people love the bulldog grip. I have clients who love the bulldog grip. I'm just stronger when I just grip the bar in the middle of my hand and just try to keep the knuckles up and just squeeze it super hard. And I noticed that I have to practice it a lot on the floor press. It's difficult for me to maintain that through the higher reps, and especially the first set. So it's forcing me to practice at it and to practice squeezing that bar. And plus, I'm doing all this extra grip work. It helps me reinforce the grip work. To just learn to just squeeze everything tight. You know, we don't hold anything loose other than maybe a lateral raise. Everything's got to be squeezed tight. But again, the speed is good. Speed is good. We're working off 40% though, plus the bands. Now, keeping in mind, band tension kicks in really, really quick. So people are like, well, what is that, just 65% at the top? It's like, no, it's 65% in the middle. I have my band set up to where there's a little tension at the bottom. So it's not technically just the 40% at the bottom. So we always need to be clear with bands and chains. No matter what you do, there should be some band and chain tension at the bottom on your speed work. Okay? So if you're listed at 40%, it might actually be 45% at the bottom. 65% for the entire, maybe top half of the lift. Now with chains, it's a flat progression. But with bands, the tension accumulates very, very fast. So usually like the last third to a half of your rep, you may not be gaining any significant band tension. It might be a pound or two between the midway and your lockout, because we hit the tension very quick as soon as the band is stretched. And we know this because we measure them. I mean, any of us who've done this with scales and digital scales, we know that. So again, I'm happy with the speed. I'm happy with the 3 different grip positions I picked. So I'm like, let me go with that same grip position, because I also looked at it, and that grip position on the floor press really lets me get the whole forearm lined up. In the first set, I felt like I didn't have my grip perfect, and I still got 12 reps. So what is it I said I'm going to do? Keep working with 225 and keep repping it. I want to see if I can get to 15. And I've said when I can get to 15 reps with 225 on the floor press, I'll probably be able to bench PR again. Okay, so we got 12, 12, 12. Now, they were all challenging. Like, especially I felt like the third set, I didn't feel like I had another rep in the tank. Okay, so we're using this as a main chest builder, right? It's going to be a significant chest builder for me, because we know I need more pec, but I don't need just endless volume on the pecs. And especially with the speed bench thrown in, my pecs are getting work there. They get worked really hard on the floor press. But again, I'm going to keep the volume limited on these bigger lifts that are harder to recover from. We can always throw extra volume into small movements, which we will. And we use the small movements to feed the big movements. And the other thing you guys will notice, I'm not doing any small tricep work in my main workouts, because I realize I don't need to. I can accumulate a lot of band work throughout the week. It's not hard for me to get 15 to 20 sets of high rep band press downs. Why do I need more single joint than that right now? That's a huge amount of volume. I need to be focused upon big movements. Even if I'm going to do them for high reps, I need movements that are going to really carry over to the bench. So that's why, again, after this, and these were good. I was happy with this. This is back to a PR. Okay, we're getting very, very close to the floor press strength I was at leading into that bench press PR before the shoulder problems from the pull-ups. So now that we've rehabbed it, we have to rebuild that. So that's all on point, because again, I think this is the third one here, and this is 12 reps. So it's 12, 12, 12. And I know that when I get to 15, I'm in a good position. Same thing with overhead pressing. When I can get to 135 for 12, and I can probably floor press 225 for 15, I have a bench PR. Okay, I'll have a bench PR. I almost feel like, based upon this and the better position, then I feel better here. Like I could come back in and hit another floor press and crush that silly floor press I had earlier this week that didn't go well. I feel like I could come in and do that. We'll figure that out when Monday gets here. As far as what I'm going to max on, I might consider a floor press. I might do something totally different. I might come in and do something with the buffalo bar. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of debating between, do I want to go ahead and take a wide grip with the buffalo bar for a max, or do I want a floor press for a max, right? Either one will tell me a lot about how my chest is coming along. So these were hard today. I used the same weight as last time, but because I did all the speed bench first, I had a lot more fatigue. Plus, I got the floor press rep PRs. I had more fatigue. So instead of trying to do 5 sets, because I decided I'm going to work the overhead press back in today, I did 3 sets of this with the same weight. But the third set, I had to rest pause. When I say rest pause, I paused it on my chest, like the last 2 or 3 reps. And for those curious, it's 55 pounds of chains, right? Some people are like, how much chain is that? And if you don't understand the math, those are 5-foot lengths of chain, right? They're 1/2-inch chain. Well, that's 12 pounds. And I have 2 of them on each side with 4.5 pounds of lead chains. It's not that hard to do the math. Okay, people are going to say, you lied, Jason. That's 24 plus 4.5. That's 28.5 per side. And then they do the math and say, okay, well, it's pretty close then. It's a little over 55. Actually, I'm curious. I'm going to actually bust out a calculator. And you guys are going to hear me typing on it. So we'll actually figure out how much it is. It's 57 pounds. I lied to you guys. I'm a big old liar. It's actually 57 pounds, not 55. But some of it's on the ground. So fair enough. We can call it 55. So it's not a super heavy weight. But again, we've already speed benched. We've already done all that floor pressing. This is to really finish those triceps off. And now people will say, well, why do this instead of a regular close grip? Because I need a little more tricep specificity. This still lets me use a movement that works my chest and delts. But where am I weakest on all my close grip benching? The lockout. I always grind the lockouts, even on PRs. And it is truly the lockout. People will say, well, a lot of times what people call the lockout at mid-range. No, I'm over 3/4 of the way through the movement before it slows usually, right? I'm well past the halfway point, then it slows, and about the last few inches. Okay, and that's normal. So we know there's a tricep component to that. So even if there's not, people say, well, chest can actually contribute to that at that point too. Yeah, you are right. But if we're overloading that point of the movement for a bunch of reps, again, sets of 15 against all those chains, we're also working the muscle fibers of the chest associated with that. So again, this is just to hypertrophy all of that. This will give me chest growth. It'll give me the tricep growth. And some of it will be joint angle specific to my weak link. Because it gives me a strength curve that's closer to what your natural leverage strength curve is by using the chains, because you're always a little stronger at the top, but we exhaust ourselves on the way up. So in this case, I'm hitting that with the most tension. But again, this is what I'm doing in place of smaller tricep exercises, these main workouts. And we went to the press. I have regressed enormously. I did this first set, and I filmed it and went over and checked it before I did the next one. My clients all know that if their press looked like this, I would be chewing their ass out in Skype. Right? All you guys are going to be like, aha, coach, we caught you being a hypocrite. For those curious, at this point, because I've had other people inquire and people I know have come over, and so without slots even being open, I'm sitting on 22 now. We're about to see less videos come out. I can't keep up always with the rate I'd like on the channel and deal with that many clients at a certain point, because I very well could be at 25 next month, which is my hard cap. So in that case, we might only upload like 6 informatives plus my training vlogs and then the Q&As every week. That might be what happens. But back over to the pressing. I took the weight down. I went all the way down to a ridiculous 95 pounds. I'm working on trying to keep my knuckles up, because look at that line. Look how terrible that is. Wrists are back. Wrists are not stacked. That is garbage. Complete garbage. And I struggled even with this. Now, keep in mind, I'm very tired. All my pressing muscles are hit hard. Look at all the work I just did. Speed bench. Floor press PR for volume. All that volume close grip pressing with chains. All right, my pressing muscles are fatigued, but we've got to come in and do this. And I'll work with the lightest weight I have to. If I have to work with 95 pounds, and I've got to come in and work on my grip. I'm looking at this and I'm realizing not only do I need to get the knuckles up, I do need to continue to work on my shoulder mobility, which I work on 7 days a week. We need a different grip. I need to take the grip a little bit wider. I think I'm going to get better levers there. Okay. Because again, we need everything stacked at the bottom. The wrist needs to be above the elbow with the bar in a straight line through the two of them towards gravity, right? That is what we want to see at the bottom. And I'm not going to be able to lock it at the top correctly even until I get the right grip width, and I can keep the knuckles up. That's going to interfere with the lockout at the top. So there's things I need to fix, but what do? We get stronger at it and we keep working the delts. So the floor press is caught back up, my triceps are caught back up, but then my overhead press is way down after all the detraining. So here's what we know. As much as I like those wide grip upright rows, they haven't maintained my shoulder press strength. Have they really done that much for my delts? I can't overhead press, and I've been doing all this tricep work. I think not. So we're going to go over and mess with some laterals again. And now I'm still struggling with dumbbells. A lot of people, I know a lot of you tried to give me suggestions for dumbbells. And I know you mean well, but you're not giving me stuff that's useful all the way around. You're giving me stuff that's out of stock and costs twice what I'm willing to spend. Okay? And I want people to do the math. If you go look at what Rogue iron plates cost when they were in stock, they're $25 for a pair of 10s. 10 pairs of those is 200 pounds of plates you could load onto a dumbbell. 200 pounds for $250. Their handles are a little overpriced at $135 a piece. But even then, if you do the math, you do those and then a pair of 5s. What sort of math are you coming up with? Maybe $550 if they ever get it all back in stock. May not happen this year. You're looking at like $550 at that point to have dumbbells that go up to 125. Like if you throw a 5 on each side with it, pair of 5s. Those are dumbbells that go up to 125 pounds each, adjustable, that you have the same plates you can use on your other bars with good bearings and everything in them. Like all those dumbbell handles have bearings. When Titan has theirs in stock, and they still rate those dumbbells to hold 500 pounds, and they have bushings and bearings and everything in them also, like $75 for a pair of handles. All right? So don't link me your stupid ass $800 Iron Master dumbbells that don't even use Olympic plates, that are $800, $900, and they're out of stock. Sorry guys, that's ridiculous. And I do need to get dumbbells. And I'm still waiting on other stuff to come in, like my rack upgrade will be here soon to where I convert this rack into a full rack. And there's reasons I want to do that. It has to do with isometrics. It has to do with a lot of things I want to be able to do. But one of the things I'm noticing now that I'm doing these inverted rows this way with the narrow grip and not using the axle bar, the grip limit becomes an issue, which my grip still really gets fatigued on these. I've noticed not only the lat pump, but I get so much bicep pump. And that's interesting because I don't normally have a history of bicep pump. I've always said for years, due to that old injury, I can't feel my biceps. Now my biceps get pumped all the time. They get pumped on floor presses. They get pumped on those, and they feel almost like my biceps are almost limiting me. Okay, so I need to keep doing more bicep work. Now, I'm trying to make these work in place of dumbbells. In this first set, this is horrific. Look at those chains swinging. So I ended up wrapping the chains a lot more. So you can almost ignore this first set. And we did 4 total sets. I did 20 on the first 3, and the last set I could only get 15. And then I'm like, I need to stop here. Because what I don't want to do is try to do a 5th set when I've lost 5 reps on a 4th set on a novel training response, because I haven't done laterals in a while and I've never used these exact setup. I'm going to have shoulder DOMs. All right, we already just did overhead press, especially a narrower grip with that bar for the first time in a very, very long time. We just added these in for the first time in a very long time. What I don't want to have happen is not be able to raise my arms over my head tomorrow. And we might be pretty close just from this to get the novel training response. So again, if I had normal dumbbells, it would be easier. I know it's harder, so my arms are going to cock in weird ways a little bit more because of the swing on these, but there's not much I can do. And I'm going to make it work. But I feel like laterals will give me everything I want from that upright row. It'll work the side delt, it'll work the upper traps, and I think it's going to help give me carryover with something easy to recover from to that overhead press. So here's where we're at with the benching. We need to keep the floor press going. We need to keep doing the tricep work. My delts need to come back up. Okay, if my overhead pressing strength is that weak, we know that, and again, I've had the major shoulder issue I've rehabbed. Well, we know that they're going to be a weak link. And I think my delts were bigger a while back. My delts were a little more round a couple months ago when I hit that lift. I'm almost sure of it. So let's get in and do the lifts that we are going to carry over to that overhead press. And that overhead press is going to also help my whole upper back region. Let's just create a good synergy there. Since we're doing a ton of other tricep work, that's going to help the press, but actually training the press again and then coming in and just working the delts directly with a lot of volume that they can recover from. Get my delts growing again, get my shoulders strong to go with that floor press that's going back up, and we'll get a bench PR, okay? What's the goal I set for this year? 375. Now, I've done 352 before that problem, so I've got muscle memory. That's the other thing, guys. It's not like this is new muscle tissue, okay? Muscle memory is a real thing. This year, I was at a point where I could do 12 reps with 135 on the strict press deep into a workout. We've hit that closed grip bench. Now it's just a matter of rebuilding the muscle that I've probably lost and detrained in those areas, rebuilding it, and then using the wave of that to push forward. Now, if I can get 352 on a closed grip on the buffalo bar, if I can just get the pecs bigger and stronger, I should be able to go with a slightly wider grip with a better arch, because now that I'm arching more, I have more arch now than I did on that PR. With a little more pectoral, if I regained all the strength I had, add a little bit of chest, and use that arch with a slightly wider grip, we can reach our goal. My goal was 375 this year, and I got seriously derailed 2 months ago. Right, really, it's coming up, was it like 9 weeks now? Derailed. Okay, but we can get it back, rebuild the lost ground. I have basically 3.5 months to try to reach that goal. Okay, let's get as close as we can. If I don't get it, I'm going to try to get close. Put in the work. Just like we're doing all the work we need for the squats, we're hammering all the weak links. Got to do the same for the bench. My deadlift only needs me to get my grip stronger. Then I did straight bar curls. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, why do I need to overcomplicate this? Why do I need to deal with stuff that makes me get tingles and stuff in my hand with incline curls? I don't have adjustable dumbbells. Just do the straight bar curls. And I liked the axle bar, but let's go back to something normal. Keep it simple. Picked a weight I thought I could get at 15 to 20 with, and it ended up being 15s. I did 4 sets of 15 with this, based upon my axle bar work. So I'm slightly weaker with this than the axle bar. And it's because I got used to the axle bar. I'll get used to this bar. We'll build it up. We'll build up to maybe sets of 20 with a heavier weight than this, right? But then again, this is 5 pounds more than I was doing sets of 20 with the axle bar. And it's not a lot of weight. I have long forearms. I don't have the best biceps. But how do we build biceps? Well, you get in and you train them. We do all that pulling in rows, but then we come in and do some bicep work that hits the biceps really, really hard. Okay, and this hits the biceps hard. Got the wrist cocked back. It's a supine grip. I'm doing full range of motion. We're coming all the way down, and we're actually coming up to the face. Okay, keeping tension on the muscle through a full range of motion. Right, that's on top of all the pulling and compound movements that give me a big bicep pump. And this is how you build biceps. This is how you build any muscle. Get in and work it through its full range of motion with a bunch of volume, with a controlled exercise after doing big compounds, big multi-joints. Okay, they'll come up, but I feel my biceps again. They get a ridiculous pump on both these and the inverted rows now. So something's going on there. Like something has returned back on after all those years from the injury, and I'm going to run with it. So let's see if I can bring those arms up, the biceps up too, because it'll probably help with my bench press. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.